Hello, Ice NATO, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time on YouTube, this is a series where I, Maltown, normally a wannabe short-form jester, will politely and lovingly review your commander deck and its weird little PP. Today, we're looking at Biggest Bird Beats Bubble Blowing Babies Brutally. Your PP being your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck, the idea behind this deck apparently being a lot of B words. And your practicum is the 99. It's the stuff that goes wrong with the idea, the mana screw, the mana flood, the strategies that don't quite work. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about this person's idea, whether or not it can work in the bracket they want it to work in, and then after that we'll look at what they're playing and what they could be playing that's better. So this is an Athari deck. Athari wants to attack. When you attack, you get experience counters. When you get experience counters, you get 2/2 rebels. You can use 2/2 rebels to bring Othari back to the graveyard from the battlefield tapped. So you can get around some commander attacks that way if they're not exiling her. Now, the deck works. We've only played it in a 3-for-all, which is the hell dimension for commander, but we're 5-1 in 3-for-alls. That makes sense to me because aggro, army in a can strategies, they tend to struggle in 4-player commander, but the fewer players you have, the better and better they get. And if you're, as long as you're still building for commander and not like, right, when you get down to like brawl, if you play on MTG Arena, then life totals are low enough that it's just like removal spam, combo spam, force of will, I'm killing you with my mind. But this commander cleaning up in a 3-for-all does make sense to me. And what we want spiritually is we want something that is more targeted than attack equals value. So what I'm going to recommend here is when you want to get a deck idea that's more interesting than just I did a thing, so I get a thing, it's really helpful to lean into visual imagery. We have to think of our deck as a painting or as a scene from a TV show or a movie. What's happening in that scene that's interesting? So if we want the rebels to be the star of the show, do we like the idea of rebels also becoming birds? Like we could lean into flying. Do we like the idea of rebels causing explosions because we could have the rebels, we could have them team up with Perforos. There's a lot of burn stuff you could do where, it's not very far from Perforos. There's Impact Tremors. There's Warstorm Surge, which is not as good for this deck because Warstorm Surge cares about power entering. But like that's an energy that we could do in the deck. And quite frankly, if you're already 5-1 in 3-for-all games, the deck probably doesn't need to be that much better. The deck needs to be that much more interesting. And if we're going to make the deck that much more interesting, we need that vivid imagery. So I'm just going to keep going with ideas of what we could do. We could do uh, Rebel Battle Line, where we have a gaggle of goons that all have different weaponry, and our backup commander could be Boros Sephiroth. This guy. I like that's not good. That's not strong, but it makes the rebels the heroes. We could do a lot of like we could do for Mirrodin stuff. This would link up pretty easily with our commander if we just had a few things that put counters on everything. It doesn't even have to be stuff like Cathar Crusade. We could do like Requisition Raid. Because if you Requisition Raid, boom, all of our rebels currently attacking are modified, then boom, Sephiroth, all of my modified rebels are now 7/5s. That's fun. That's cool. That is like just distracted enough that we're gonna work in bracket 3 and we're gonna have like a specific thing that we're playing to rather than just okay, I'm going to combat. I'm killing you with my hands. What else could we do? We could do Secret Voltron kind of makes me this would be really bad. I don't think you should do this one, but I'm trying to think of what is evocative of rebels, and I'm trying to think of the one unsung hero, right? The nameless fugitive, the nameless rebel who pulls up and shoots Darth Vader in the face. And so you could just bring a ton of shit that's like Excalibur, but I never give it to my commander. You gain life. Excalibur 2, but I hand it to some guy. But I hand it to some random tutu, and I cosplay the US Army handing like a nuclear rocket launcher to a bunch of infantrymen. Uh what else? We've got bombs, we've got you could do some type of faux communist coup, and we could try to do, would Boros aristocrats work? I'm trying to imagine how that would go. I think that would probably devolve back into a burn strategy. Like you would probably be playing a ton of like Dax pieces and burn pieces, and it would be like the economy is being strained under the rising birth rate of Othari. That's stupid. And so like that's what we have to pick. We have to pick one of these storylines, and whichever storyline we pick, the deck is going to become worse. You're going to like it more when it's worse. So what I'm going to try to do as we go through the 99 is pick the stuff that we definitely shouldn't cut, because there's going to be a core of very effective things that we want to keep no matter what. And so we're going to try to identify what is that effective core that we definitely want to have, and then we can pick a storyline and fill in the blanks with that storyline. So starting off, I'll say Mother of Runes. I'm going to hope to God you have the Holy Trinity, the Mother, the Giver, and the Weird Dog. But you want the 4 card protection package that is Mother of Runes, Giver of Runes, Skrelv, and then Starfield Shepherd to tutor any of them. I think any white deck that has a commander that cares about swinging a lot, that has a commander that is vulnerable to removal, and even though you have this way to cheat the commander tax because you are 5 mana up front, or you are removable. There is there are so few things in the world I love more than exile removing a 5 mana commander. My God. And that's because I'm a hater. That's because I'm a bitch. That's because I live to ruin your day. You spent 4 turns getting ready for this, and I can undo it with one little reality shift? You got to be ready. So the way we get around that is we have a pretty robust protection package. I like Lauren's Escape. It's good that you have removal. I don't love Trickery. If you just like this card, it's a totally fine pet card. I would rather have another deflecting SWAT. I would rather have Redirect Lightning. I would rather have, I don't think Bolt Bend works for you, but you get the vision. I would rather have Return the Favor. Ooh, ooh. Fuck, countering a spell. Pass me that. Tasty, tasty. So would make a stand. I think there's just a better version of this card. Hold on. It's like Unbreakable Formation. I believe you said budget. Oh, wait, it's a budget card too. Yeah, okay. So instant speed makes all our shit indestructible, which is important, the most important part. And then if we do it on our turn in main phase, +1/+1 counter. Now they're modified. Helps with a modified Sephiroth plan. Helps with any modified synergies you got. Done. Um, what else we got in here? The Chrome as well is great. That's going to win games for you. Clever Concealment's great. I love Reconnaissance. I love Darksteel Mutation. I hate Firebender Ascension. As a man, I just preface you with that because it means as a man, as a white man, I'm stupid and biased, and I've gotten away with it my whole life, and I'm gonna keep getting away with it because I hate this bitch ass card. Um, it's really hard to argue against. I do think this is one of the cards that could die for something more interesting, and you probably wouldn't miss it that much. That much. Like it is um less effective at doing what it does than an extra combat spell, right? Because an extra combat spell gets us uh an extra swing with the board of tutus we make. So if I was trying to double up on the Othari trigger, I would almost always be playing an extra combat spell over a trigger doubler. Um, and this one, I think, is probably really good in the deck as is because the deck is broadly attack equals value. As we move away from attack equals value into whatever narrative you want, whatever structure you want the deck to take, Firebender Ascension will get worse and worse. Assault's great. Can't argue against that. Uh, God, good card. It's hard to argue against. Hard to argue against. Because of who I am as a person, again, a bitch hater, I wouldn't be playing doublers. I would be playing more removal because I'm a dickhead. Like I much prefer the idea of like, no, Athari's gonna swing at you once a turn, and it's gonna trigger one time. Oh, so it's bracket two? No, it's bracket three. You're never gonna keep a single goddamn thing on the board. It's you're gonna be begging for death. But that's just how I play. It's not how you have to play. I would keep this over Firebender Ascension because we don't have to work up to it. And like if we really need to, we can make jump blockers with it. Trouble in Pairs, fucking undefeated, very very strong card. Grim Reaper Sprint, fucked up and good. Fuck yeah, dog. Your land base is probably okay if we have a lot of ramp. I disagree with these game changers. I disagree with Mana Vault the most because Mana Vault to me is begging to get swords to plowshare before you move to combat, particularly if you play in bracket 3 tables where people know what the fuck is up. And by know what the fuck is up, I mean they are willing to mulligan to removal or play decks that have enough removal that they can be confident they're going to have it in their opening hand because you do not want to be the first threat on the board ever ever. It's different for a three for all, right? In a three for all, it's so weird. It kind of behooves you to be the first threat on the board. If you were trying to do this for like 1v1, yeah, you got to get your threats on the board as quickly as possible. In Commander, somebody's always got that thing on them. And if you play the 5-mana Boros Commander on turn 2 before anybody else has done anything scary, guess what? You're getting thanged. And you're going to have no rebels to get around this Commander tax. And I realize that's not the only context Mana Vault will ever be played in. And there are many useful contexts where you could go Mana Vault, like Mana Vault, drop a crazy early Trouble in Pairs, maybe. Mana Vault. Why the fuck is Dragonhawk in here? Mana Vault. You gotta cut Mana Vault, man. Never mind. But I think like the best use case of Mana Vault is my commander is a standalone house, and dropping them early is very, very good for me. I think your commander is a standalone house. Dropping them early can be very, very good for you. The most common run out, if I did this, would be Othari gets removed on turn 2 before I have swung them one time and gotten my first rebel, and I am sad forever because I'm like 2 land drops away. Like, this is probably the only source of ramp in my hand. I'm multiple land drops away from being able to untap this thing to even be able to try again. And so I think if we had like Tef Pro has to beat this without even thinking that hard. Tef Pro has to beat this. I could imagine Enlightened Tutor beating this just to get reconnaissance because reconnaissance is such a powerful thing. I'm like and interestingly enough, I'm kind of with Chrome Mox. I'm not totally with it because Boros doesn't love giving up material like this, but if you want to be, first to bat, yeah, we need some mana quickly. I've played a number of decks where I was like, oh, okay, the deck isn't that high power, but all my game chasers are going to be CEDH mana rocks because I like need to play a 2-drop on turn 1. So I'm kind of with Chrome Mox. I'm not with Mana Vault. Unfortunate heater card. Great card. Yeah, great card for this deck. Pretty great card. I think Tome of Legends works for you, actually. I love Bitterthorn. I love Buster Sword. Don't love this one. I think we have to be able to do better. This one seems like dead weight to me. One ring, go fuck yourself. Great card. So Commander Sphere and Mana Vault, I would be pulling out of the artifact section. Esper Sentinel is a good card terminally sauceless. I think there are ways to shore up your card draw such that you would not miss this guy too much. You could open up a slot for, one of these burn guys for Boros Sephiroth or something that is within the narrative vein of the deck, and you don't need him. You do need this fuck though. This is crazy good by itself, crazy good with your commander because you're gonna gain life anytime you swing your commander. And it's a fucking it's a 1 mana token doubler. Like I can't. There's no argument against this card. Uh, okay. I think there's an argument against some of these proliferation engines. I think all of these proliferation engines come back in if you want to go for that pseudo modified synergy plan. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of fun heat in the modified creatures plan. This is equipment. Never mind. I thought that was affinity for modified. That's my fault. I thought this was going to be a lot more interesting. Let me look up Boros Sephiroth again and see if he has a tag associated. But I would be more willing to lean deeper into proliferate if we were going to be putting 1/1 counters on our guys in an interesting way. Okay, synergy modified. Let's see. Is there any heat here? Is there anything we're like super jazzed about? Oh shit, we could we could play modified matters. Um Communist Celebration's kind of fun. This would just rip shit out of our deck. This is better than Esper Sentinel if we lean into modified. But again, we have to lean, pretty heavily into we're getting +1/+1 counters on stuff. You get to play Tawashi Guidebot. You could play Mirror Style Master to surprise double the number of tokens if they all had +1/+1 on them, but most of your deck would have to be retooled around, when this win card does thing, also 1 round of +1/+1 counters goes on everybody. What's Savior of Allenbach do? 1/2 with training. When they trains is when they attack with something bigger than them. Exile something, comes back when they come back. I don't love that. I think that guy could go. Um, oof. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. Unbeatably good. Very, very good. Incredible heat. Never stop stopping. Beautiful. Um, very good standalone. I would consider this as something you could lean into more narratively, but very, very potent. God, Smeller Bee's really fucking good too. That's incredible. You probably draw like 5 cards every turn. I think Jera and Hazaret fuck. I'll probably rip a quick playtest to check on Dragonhawk. I'm not sure I totally believe in Dragonhawk. I think we would benefit from committing to small guys or committing to big guys. Dragonhawk does get a lot better if we do the +1/+1 counter plan. Because with the +1/+1 counter plan, or if we do an Anthem plan, those rebels get very big very quickly, and then they all work for Dragonhawk. This is actually so Perforos and Dragonhawk. Maybe there can be some overlaps here. Perforos and Dragonhawk could work with the bomb strategy, but we would want to play cards like it's not intangible virtue. The background, one of those backgrounds that says commander creatures you control have tokens get +2/+2. Hold on. That's too much mana. Inspiring Leader. I think Inspiring Leader would make me a lot more confident in Dragonhawk. Because this shit would be insane. You would like kill the table instantly with this bullshit. Uh, I don't love Neheb in this deck, quite frankly. I know it probably works really well. I'm just gonna speak on the basis of again bias, arrogance, hatred. I feel like the primary purpose of Neheb in this deck is to try and go infinite or chain non-deterministically infinite. And I just think we could be doing something that sparks more joy. I think Norn's Choirmaster could also be replaced. It's probably Heat. I want to say that. I'm probably wrong about this. This is a lot of mana. This is a lot of mana to need something else to do anything. Right? If anything has happened to lock up our commander, um, if we've just had like a rough game so far, it's a pretty decent blocker. That's points for it, but it doesn't have its own attack trigger. It doesn't have its own ETB trigger. That's a little bit in the weeds. And so if we're looking for what is the deadest weight, I would say this one. Ooh, Port Razor, extra combat. So extra combat's good. 4/4 no evasion, bad. 4/4 no evasion, ugh. 4/4 has to connect with no evasion. Ah! You could probably. It's tough. I doubt there will be any games where you get no value out of it. I think there will be a lot of games where he gets blue balled a little bit. Little tiny scoosh. Because how are you getting this guy through, right? Nothing about your deck is built to get guys like you don't have a commando deck. You have a proletariat uprising deck. We're throwing an endless number of tutus at you. We're not like, if we want to do everybody's a bird and we want to try to do how do I give other creatures flying, then I think Port Razor is actually your fucking boy. And I think that's also a very funny deck because you get to play stuff like, hold on, uh, target creature. There's a ton of like Lord of the Rings birds that make other shit fly, I'm pretty sure. The target attacking creature, hold on. Dude, a Johnny? Yeah, hold on, Appa. Port Razor with the the Appa shit. You That makes me happy, dude. Um, or 4 mana Appa, like same shit. If we want to do a deck that's going to care about damage triggers, we could mix it up with funny stuff like the Appas. Um, oh, you could use Aurelia. That's kind of cool. Um, Blessed Hippogriff. Oh my god, and the protection spell's relevant. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't fucking so. Like, these are garbage cards, and that's the beautiful part of playing bracket 3 is you get to play some garbage cards and make them look really good. We give Port Razor flying. We give the Bloodthirster immediately believe in no matter what. He stays in. Port Razor is situational because Bloodthirster is fucking connecting. Flample 6/6, bro is getting through. Oh, but he only untaps himself. Does that matter then? We can't give this vigilance. And this only cares about Athari attacking. Ooh, so maybe both go down. Because Bloodthirster's kind of rough if we don't get. Because we don't have any inherent benefits just for being in combat. So maybe Aurelia is the one of these three that stay together. Uh, don't love Riona. I think you talked about them being part of the combo package. It feels like they're mostly here for the sake of the combo. Because they can't even break legend rule. If we were going to do this, I no, because we don't get the attack trigger if we make a tapped and attacking copy of Othari. Yeah, I don't think I believe in Riona, even though she's probably pretty good. I think this is another thing we can do. We can spark more joy. Blasphemous Act is probably pretty good. I don't think you should cut Blasphemous Act. I think another board wipe you should consider Hour of. Yeah, is Hour of Reckoning. Because we can probably cast this for like no fucking mana, right? As we get into the late game, we can swing Athari, make all the Othari guys. Um, we have a couple angles we can do. We can swing Athari, make a new round of tokens, convoke all the tokens we made last turn that we didn't swing, board wipe everybody, except us, and then we can replay Othari next turn and we have like 10 2/2s. Or we can just tap out for this in the late game when we already have 10 2/2s. And if we're doing the modified game plan, or if we're doing the burn game plan, 10 unblocked 2/2s probably wins us the game. I believe there's also Everything Comes to Dust. This one is a little bit more risky because this is going to blow up artifacts and enchantments, and you have a lot of mana rocks. If you play this one, I would consider switching your ramp over to white ketchup ramp. I would be doing things like Surveyor's Scope. Hot card, actually. Surveyor's Scope, OTAG. Is ketchup ramp an OTAG? Hold on, let's find out. Disgusting, it has to be. No, naughty, naughty. Oh, come on. But more of these, Land Tax, Archaeomancer's Map, even Keeper of the Accord, Loyal Warhound, Claim Jumper. I would be doing things to get lands out, so when we blow up artifacts and enchantments, it doesn't fuck us. So those are my ideas. I believe in this deck. I think it probably works pretty well. You have removal, you have protection, you have ramp, you have a little bit of card draw, and you do beat the shit out of people, which is the most important part of any good commander deck. I would play this in draw just to try to get my land drop. Fuck, we missed the land drop. Fuck me. Fuck. I play this guy on curve. Fuck. Maybe we need more draw then. I Darksteel Mutation somebody. I steal somebody else's thing. Holy shit, bro. I don't know. Somebody draws me a card for Esper Sentinel. Alright, we finally get this motherfucker down. We start doing stuff. So you may benefit from having like one or two more burst draw things, because I don't think you need you don't need a crazy number of cards, but we have to get out to Athari number 1. We have to get out to Athari number 1. So things like Secret Rendezvous, things like Cut a Deal. Honestly, you could even make Joined Researchers work if you're doing the +1/+1 counter plan, because it's a body that can become a modified creature. It has First Strike, very relevant combat keyword, and getting Secret Rendezvous over and over and over again, rarely a bad thing for you to spend your mana on. So those are my ideas. I don't think you're ineffective outside of when you mana screw, but I do agree that we're a little bit uninspired. And so I hope I have provided a few paths for you to fit in a little bit more inspiration and showed you what can be safely cut. So if anybody has different ideas, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I wish you the best, and I do hope this helps.